through. The document is in these well structured. Um, it also clarifies some pointers because I'm sure you and me both operate in the same market, and sometimes I also get sort of perplexed why people are breaching the regulatory guidelines because they're actually very clear in the last version as well, and maybe in this version they have even try to even more clarify the position so that there's no confusion. ये कर सकते हैं कि नहीं कर सकते, possible है कि नहीं possible है. So that's the intent I have. You can share your questions on chat if you want, or you can send your messages on Q&A, and we'll try to see if we can get answers to that. My team will record all the queries and try to respond back either through webinar or through newsletters, some of those queries. And if you still have some questions, you do reach out to us, or many of you may already have my team's number or my number. Do ask those questions, and we'll be happy to engage. So with this, I pause now, and just to call out that while as I always say, I'm the face out here, but I think the team have worked through, and there are many experts within the team who are actually better than me on terms of understanding on the nuances, because they are the ones on the ground implementing with so many banks and so many LSPs in the market. Yeah. So with that, I'll sort of start the session, and yeah, we'll take through wherever you have a query, right? So we'll go through that. Yeah. Yeah. One sec. Just one sec. I'm just waiting a bit of issue. So as I said, the idea of this session is largely to focus on the guidelines changes and also take through some of the specific changes which you have to be careful in your business. Quick background about us. My name is Sameer Singh Jaini. I'm part of the Digital Fifth. It's one of the largest consulting firm focused in purely on the financials, digital finance and fintech business. So we've been there for 8-9 years now, but doing the same thing. And we also organize Bharat Fintech Summit, which is once a year event, which many of you would have attended earlier. It's again back in February. And also interestingly, we are also doing one more event on InsurTech that's going to be on in July period, and happy to have you there as well, because we think the way we are operating in lending market, we have to operate in insurance market as well. That's what we're doing, and of course, a lot of people use us for training their teams and as well. So, but largely we are a consulting firm. The areas we work on, let's say digital strategy, technology strategy, open banking advisory, a lot of embedded finance businesses in the country has been done by us. The largest of the players have been sort of in the background we have done. We do a lot of project and program management. We do a lot of product management. A lot of people use on us on their strategy. Let's say, for example, a lot of fintechs, when they get funded or they're building their business, they work with us on their product benchmarking or strategy. So mix of work and fairly large body of work we've done in that last 8-9 years, almost like 100 odd customers with us in this period, and largest of players. On the regulatory compliance perspective, we do work on a lot of IT regulatory perspective frameworks. We work a lot on security and risk compliances work. We do a work on purely fintech and startup advisory. So early stage people, when they want to figure out how to do what to do, we help them. A lot of people work with on let's say when they buy the companies or they invest in the companies. A lot of VCs and Ps use us for due diligence of the companies, and fairly large deals have been sort of routed through us in terms of due diligence of the platforms. And of course, a lot of you would know us from research and content management. So we do generate a lot of content. This is again one of those content which will be free of cost. There no commercial, nothing is behind the price wall. Of course, we have a training portal which is priced at a very low price, going through those training programs as well. So idea was to sort of democratize fintech training, so you can have it online. These typically 3-4 hours modules are already up and running on our website. You go ahead and see them as well. So I think with this, I move to largely the areas where we operate, and which is the reason why whatever we are sharing is based on experience, and which may have uh, we as we build a lot of strategies for the market. We you are launching some DLA partnerships as well, or DLG partnership as well, we can work on any one of them. That's the space we are in. So with this, I move to the core space, what the actual artifact is all about. And they've sort of overwritten all the previous guidelines. So between 2022, 23, 24, RBI had raised a lot of or shared a lot of artifacts. All of them have been overwritten, and they've been all replaced by just one single digital lending guidelines 2025. The other, and they also had an FAQ earlier, which came and all of that. So that has been removed. And all of them has been brought into one simple document. Everything is live right now, but two things which will happen separately is that, for example, a very simple reporting which has to be done to RBI, that will happen on 15th of June. There are some clauses, sub-clauses, or some pointers they've given there as well. And 1st of November onwards, all the REs have to share the LSP, RE LSP agreement has to be shown in a particular way. It's complicated. Actually, this is one point where we believe that a lot of work has to be done by the lenders, and a lot of work has to be done by the LSPs as well. Complicated deploy karna, because we'll take you through what it is and how it will work. I think as we release the document, you will have access to all the pointers very clearly so that you can use them. I think first thing first, the definitions wise, they've not changed anything on RE, LSPs and sort of DLAs. All of them are clarified. Everything is simple. REs are regulated entities, which are obviously the banks and NBFC and others. So they've clarified all of that. I think there may have been some confusion because there will be some entities which are not covered under that, and people try to route transaction through those entities. I think what they've done is that any kind of financial institution, so they've created a sort of catch-all, saying any kind of entity out there will be a part of it. So at no point in time, they'll expect you to sort of say, yeah, nahi possible hai, so we are doing this in a partnership. Every entity in the country which is regulated of any kind is under that regulated entity. LSPs obviously can do part of the component acquisition, underwriting, pricing support, servicing. So all of that is coming as LSP. So the arrangement has to be properly documented as well. And DLAs, a lot of people get confused with DLAs. DLA is basically any channel on which on mobile channel or internet banking channel, anything else which is digital interface to customer. They has to be sort of brought under DLAs. It can even be banks or NBFC's own apps. So that's also under DLAs. And of course, the LSPs, and also a lot of PAs also tend to get into a lending space. We've seen a lot of PAs getting that business, payment aggregators. So that also comes under the same structure. So only one change is that they've said that it's catch-all. Don't try to sort of breach that trust. So any entity which lends logically comes under that guidance as well. Loans under DLG ambit, no changes to that. Retail, MSME, corporate, EMI on debit card or even credit card or a priority sector lending, everything comes under DLG guidelines. Again, no breaks here. No, it's all catch-all. Everything is included, and there are, of course, things which are not under sort of the same framework. I think critically we have credit cards, revolving credit facilities, and NBFCs P2P. They are not under the guidelines, but interestingly, what is under revolving credit, just to ensure that we have clarity of purpose, the UPI, that credit on UPI falls under revolving credit. So DLG obviously ensures that DLG guidelines are ensuring that the UPI on credit is not falling under DLG. So please, you can't have a digital lending guidelines applied to that slightly different product. The RBI may not be looking at any kind of credit line facility, which is a revolving in nature, to come under, because it's very complicated to calculate and sort of reimburse. So this is primarily for sort of a term loan product, which is what they're looking at. And if you have questions, raise your questions. I'll come back in maybe next 15-20 minutes. I'll take a break, take your questions and move further. I think this is the area of slight complexities. I just want all of us to be aware that whenever they have a multi-lender LSP arrangement, so LSPs, this is one change, and we have tried to design a screen for it, a very simplistic screen for it. Is that when you are sort of lending and you are, let's say, one of the LSPs, LSPs must show all the matched and unmatched loan offers. For example, you work with 6 lenders and you have offers from 3 and not offers from other 3. you have to show all three which are matched, which with whom you can actually lend. So this on the platform. Now, generally, if you look at in the market, this is not permitted. Not permitted, nobody does it, right? So for example, customers tend to see one offer and they continue with it. The idea, I just one sec. Just one sec. So idea is simplistic by nature. As a LSP, you are always worried that how many times you will show the customer a choice, and how many times of those frictions will come when customer will decide. For example, when this screen comes, when LSP has to show, let's say, lender one, lender two, lender three, lender four, and again show the rates and then show EMI, duration, and all. It's likely that customer will get confused, and there's a chances of attrition or the customer actually losing out. Now, fact of the matter is it is also sometimes matched to the advantage of the LSP as well. So they may be getting higher margins from somebody else, and you may actually work that way. So to that extent, they've clearly called out that if you have four lenders each, or let's say six lenders, if four are matching, you have to show all matches with all details. This will result in one a very detailed integration between the both the entities, and each of the player out there, REs will also have to figure out that how to be shown on top. So those issues will come. But also critically, the ranking. The ranking has to be shown in a particular way. So you have to ensure that when you show the various offers, each one of them are shown in a particular structure way. So let's to read it properly. As we must show all matched and unmatched loan offer. Clarity is there. All matched and unmatched. So if you have four offers coming and two are not happening, where you have tried to check, you have to show them. You must disclose lender's name, APR, loan amount, tenor, monthly repayment, and penal charges for each offer. Now, uh, it will also be slightly more complicated because these are all offers which are done when you pull through an offer through all the detailing, right? So this will be more like I would say, honest answer is it will not be a perfect answer because may not have taken all the details from the lender. I'll give you an example. Let's say when you are giving a loan for a MSME. Let's say this is also part of the structure. MSME loans will need more data. Maybe there's a need for GST at a data stage and all of that. So you may have your own scoring structure and you may not need more data. So on the first front, when you show, you may have to show with limited data, and that may create more confusion. But fact of the matter is the regulator expects you to show all offers, including the KFS as well. So KFS पूरा दिखाना पड़ेगा. KFS उस limited information की वजह से बनाना पड़ेगा. Then you have to show that it's a draft one because you cannot bide with it fully, right? Because you're not underwriting customer totally, right? You still don't know the rates exactly. Those rates will change, and I suspect even the amount is may change as the new data comes in. Since this data is available only with based on limited information available at the LSP side. Now, there's an option available that we were saying that LSPs will share all data with all REs, and all REs will respond back with their responses. Highly, almost impossible scenario because when you share, let's say, 10 APIs calls, one, it's very expensive for all the LSPs to run those, all the REs to run those displays. Even for LSPs, it may be very expensive to do it. And again, the screen synchronization because data will come from the backends from all systems and to be shown. So largely what will happen is that some criteria will be built as usual is done now at the LSP level on which the underwriting is done and the offers are made. But actual offers may differ as you get more data from the customer and with on which you do more accurate lending. There's also a prohibition of biased ranking and UI dark patterns. So I think typically we see you get to see wrong data. I remember there's a big guy actually when I started my company. Somebody says that for you have to learn from that. I think it's a US based guy who teaches a lot on marketing. And every time I would go there, it will show me that we have these many guys have bought, and only three are pending at this stage, at this price point, and it was unfortunately all illegal practices, right? It was making me provoked. So I think in this business, they don't want you to take decisions based on some dark patterns, and they've called out that. So it's already available. It's also already applicable for all lenders and everybody else. But I think it was never called out that explicitly till now. So it's good that it's being shown out. And of course, you can actually create a ranking offer based on a publicly and transparent scoring method. So you have to show them on what basis I'm going to show it to you. It can be higher or a lower rate to them, or it can be, let's say, EMI or whatever structure, but you have to show, and it'll be very counterintuitive because a lot of times the decision will be done based in favor of the LSPs and the lenders. So we have to figure out how it is done. Yeah. As I said, all of this is complicated. So I think how the KFS has to be created has to be understood as well. Um, Maybe since we are running for maybe 15 minutes, I'll pause and maybe take some questions at this stage. I'll stop share and maybe take one or two questions at this stage. There are some questions. Can you point me to provision excluding credit cards from the guidelines? Automatically actually details. I don't remember. When we go through the documents, every clause is called out. So you will get to see it. Also, that guidelines are separately available. I think we would have done that webinar on that maybe long back, so we can pick it up, or it's available on website as well. Um, I think the second question, which is coming from Mayank Jain, is that what is an example of a transparent rankings scoring metric? Lenders usually have 50 plus criteria, so how do you show multi-variable comparison that screen? So exactly, that's what I was saying. That's going to be very complicated. Whatever designs are there for the customer to understand, it will become like a 5-pager or 2-pager to explain them. So this is the how to show, what to show is not going to be easy. I think what we can do, and maybe we can have a chat on that offline to see if we can design for the market. And maybe Vikrant, you can take a feedback on that pointer there. Maybe we show it on store it somewhere, and we'll see from there. तो मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि हम साथ में बना सकें ताकि you all of you can actually use that in the market. So मैं सोचता हूँ मैंने भी I mean it was came too fast, but I think I still need to get a view on it and see what we can do. So I'll pause it here. Then we have Smriti Gupta asking, and again, I'm reading it stateside. Some of the questions I may not know. Don't get sort of saying, Samir ko itna bhi nahi aata. So Smriti Gupta is asking, you have mentioned unmatched loans too. How can LSP show unmatched loan if they have 10 plus partners? So I think somewhere you have to say that these are the partners which are not matched, and you have to leave it there. You can't show more than that because the offers are never created, but maybe some product for which you did the matching and the LSP details have to be shown. Maybe that's what will show. How to decide on which RE to show first, Manasa? So Manasa is asking that. Very simple. We have to create the criteria which is crucial for that. So maybe you can create on the APR structure, because typically if you say that I'm going to show a higher APR first to you, RBI will go after you. You are trying to sell a higher, more expensive product. That happens in malls, right? You never get to see a cheaper product in mall, but they are not permitting it. So I think we have to create in favor of the customer, which where the APR is lower, the tenure is longer, and amount is higher. I think that's how my sense it'll be show. So you have to create something like that. We can maybe we can take note. We'll try to create some criteria and we'll go forward with it. Uh, yeah, I think Gaurav also asked the same question again, saying then unmatched offer, what details to be shown. I think, as I said, my understanding will be the kind of product for which we did the matching. And the RE, that's all you can show at this stage. Beyond that, not possible because there is no KFS at all. Will the lender be required to conduct KYC and hard credit pull to issue this offer? Not possible. I think at this stage, that's what I was asking, saying that if at this stage this has to be displayed, it'll create a massive burn. I think I'm sure credit bureaus will be extremely happy with it if that happens, but highly unlikely. It will kill the market because for the same customer at same point in time, let's say if the lender the LSP has say 10 partners, those 10 partners have to be called at same point of time, and maybe they'll go to the same bureau. I think it will become a lot of challenges on an overall basis. I think mostly what will happen is that on a consent architecture, the LSP will have to share the customer's soft bureau pull, and that will be the basis. And customer has to be aware that which all entities they are sharing, if that is the true, or maybe that basic algo has to be given by the REs to the LSPs to show it. As I said, it'll not be full and final. It'll change because as the more data goes through, and when the hard pull is made, the answer may be very different. Because the lender will be required to provide KFS, which will include. So yeah, so I think Parth, I'm saying the same, and you are saying the same thing, that it's not possible to sort of show the right one at this stage. Then Money Call is asking core benefit of multi-lender LSP arrangement requirement is not understood clearly why. So I think the logic is simple that let's say, and I'm giving a very real answer without hiding anything. So let's say our LSP has partnered with 5 lenders. Now, technically, what it will show to the customer, it's linked to multiple points. One, what is I mean, technically, a bigger brand may get better value, so customer will click, or it'll be maybe longer duration, or one where they get higher margins. So if you go to any shop, the higher margins are sold, right? So you may be getting a processing fee of, let's say, maybe from a revenue share perspective, you may be getting out of 2% processing fee, you will be getting 1.75 of them. And then also in the interest rate, there's some framework which is built saying that, okay, for every interest which is charged, you may be making maybe some higher percentage. So whatever it is you have to show, so it'll be interesting, and maybe tomorrow it is in your direction when you're saying I will benefit the whatever product I get more margin I'll sell. I think that will not be counterintuitive because you have to show the data. It'll show very weirdly that wherever the processing fee is high, you are getting, you are going to show it to them. So we have to create more in the customer side. You have no choices to make. I hope it's clear. Basically, they want to customer to have more options to look at it. It's more like a mall where you have see more 5 products and you understand why you're going to select one. The same expectation when we go to a mall, we visualize, right? We ask if we want to buy an AC, I'm going to ask what's the benefit. Same thing which they are saying that in the sequence you should show. Romil Gupta is asking, does this mean that each lead must be shared with all the lenders and get details from them and show to the applicant? As I said, difficult to figure out. Okay. Ishita is asking, can you explain dark patterns that is prohibited? I'll come to that question very soon. In a minute, I'm going to come. Let me see how many more questions are there. Yeah, so Ajay was is asking that can a loan be disbursed to LSP's nodal escrow account? Not permitted at all. Not permitted at all. I still see a lot of people trying to figure out spook the system. So please don't do. There are, of course, there are use cases where it's linked to end use. For example, if you're giving loan for buying a, let's say, consumer durable loans, and the loan will never go to the customer. So in that case specifically, it can go to the beneficiary or the entity which is selling. So it will go to a shop or which is selling the product. So that is a very specific use case. So as long as the end user is linked, it will go to somebody else. But in no case LSP will have access to any power on the account at all. Prisda is asking that if multiple products are offered, say PLBL and all should be displayed. So I think we have to figure out how we are going to do a structuring. So when customer is asking for it, you can even ask what is the amount you're looking at, what is the range, something like that, so that you can constrain the query before you go to too many people. So, and if the customer is looking at a PL only, you will offer him PL only, right? So, and let's say many people in the BL and PL side offer both products because it's for a sole prop, it is very similar by nature, right? So you many people do assessment as a BL, but give as a PL. So it's up to you how you want to do it, but technically you'll have to show as much as you can. Visalini is asking, Visalini is asking, would this presentation be shared? I think my request is if you there's a feedback form. Um, uh, if my team can share the link out here, if when you give a feedback to our form, we'll send back to all of you this deck. It's actually almost final, so it's good to show. We'll share it back to you. And yeah, and it will also be available on our website to download it very soon. I think today or tomorrow it will come. So today I think it will come. I'm requesting my team to also load it, the fresh version with clean stuff. And we'll do it in maybe around 5 or 6 o'clock. So you can load from there as well. I think if Vikrant, you can coordinate with the team, you can get it up as soon as possible. Uh, Anurag Singh is asking if KFS repairs. Okay, so I'll pause for a moment. I think a lot of questions are coming. I'll go back to the document and showcase the whole stuff, right? So just give me 1 sec. I'll show the document again so that we go in details. Many of them are clarified already. Yeah. So this is the tough part, right? You'll find it very difficult to architect it orchestrated, it'll increase the load on the system. So, but or to be honest, it's true, right? When you go to buy Amazon, you get to see all products and all feedbacks, all right or wrong. So they're saying that LSP should become a marketplace in a sense and show clarity of purpose, right? So the question which was coming in, what are the dark patterns, right? So I'll talk through for some of them. You should look at it and how you can use it. Please do keep asking those questions. We'll come back and try to respond back as much as we can. False urgency, right? Hota hi hai na. So this offer is still that many time, and that's about it, right? So there's an urgency shown that offer expires in this many minutes. Now, if it is really true, it's okay. It happens, right? So you have already called out that in these days it will happen, but a lot of times these offers are fake, right? It happens all the time. So that's not permitted. That's not permitted at all. I think the second is basket sneaking, right? Which is, let's say, if you're selling the maybe insurance product. So it happened to me a few days back. There was a transaction I'm doing on the loan side, and I got so many calls, so many calls. I was frozen to death. Number of calls I was getting on, oh, you have to take this insurance, that insurance. Actually, to a moment I realized, I thought that I have to take all the insurance, otherwise my loan will not get dispersed. And there were four people chasing from the same company in different ways, saying, "अगर नहीं किया तो sir loan disburse नहीं होगा." Fact of the matter was, I asked my RM finally कि यार ये हो क्यों रहा है? So बोला, सर आपको कोई जरूरत नहीं है, आपको कुछ नहीं चाहिए, शायद हमारी टीम थोड़ी ओवरबोर्ड हो गई है आपको कॉल करने में, राइट? अब आप 1 महीना 2 महीने ले सकते हो, आपकी मर्जी है, हमें नहीं चाहिए। बोलो, हम तो आप पे रिस्क ले रहे हैं, तो मुझे आपका कोई इंश्योरेंस नहीं चाहिए। वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। Confirm shaving, right? Let's say, for example, do you want to remain unsure? So I think it may or may not be applicable. I don't think I've seen something like that in the market. It happens in the insurance side, but not in the lending side. Fourth section, basically, when you go to some page, it ensures that something else is there, right? Some newsletter, something else, so that you do get those communication as part of it, because they're trying to sell something. That's also not permitted. Wait and watch. So I think when it shows, uh, I think they show, let's for example, zero foreclosure charges. But अगर जब KYC हो जाता है, then you change, right? So basically, आपको बोला, for example, when typically it happens, I was seeing today this issue, right? So everybody has a CBSE result came today, right? So CBSE results के लिए, if you look at every website, including the all famous ones, right, biggest ones, they had the same logic that result is coming and it is updated every 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But the fact of the matter is that's the same scenario for last maybe 18, 20 days. And every time it's a clickbait. So you click and then ad starts, something else starts. So don't do clickbaiting saying that it's zero and then show something else. Drip pricing, right? So basically it feels like आपको लग रहा है कि कम रेट है, but last में आके लगता है ज़्यादा हो गया, right? So that's again not permitted, right? I'll not go through the whole document. I'll keep the most critical part. This is net new to the market. I think you and me have not seen this kind of information coming. So keep sharing your question. I'll come back and take more of your questions as well. Uh, I think it's an old process. No third-party collections are permitted. Nobody else can get the money. Nobody else can do it. And fintechs definitely cannot collect any fees from the customer. Not permitted, right? Not permitted in any way, right? So you can do whatever, but not permitted. KFS is to be shown at all times properly with all inclusive cost, and APR when it's shown properly shows much higher rate. So just to give you clarity, when you do a 2% processing fee for a 3-month merchant cash advance, and you have a 2% flat charges on a monthly basis, you may think that you are charging only 8%. It is actually 64, 65, 66%, something like that. It's very expensive because the actual duration is only 45 days on an average basis. So be aware that you have to show that. It's an old one, it's nothing new. But I think the only one change they have made is that cooling period has come down to just 1 day. So it can be more than that if you want, but earlier it was 1 day for less than 7 days loan and 3 days for more than 7 days loan. So I think this is particularly done in favor of the lenders. So it's just 1 day of cooling period where the borrower can exit by paying the principal plus proportion APR without any penalty. So that exists today. But 3 से 1 हो गया, which is good and beneficial from the lenders. From a customer perspective, यार आप लोन ले रहे थे तो आप 3 दिन के अंदर रिटर्न करोगे, बहुत मुश्किल है, because it results in a lot of confusion. So I think they have reduced it to 1. But of course, if you are a bank or an NBFC, you want to retain this period as 5 days, 10 days. It's up to you. There's no restriction, but minimum is 1 day. No automatic increase in limits, so it was an old one, nothing has changed. Grievance redressal, I think all that officer structure existed, and most of the TSs are already following it. So I don't see this as a net new item at all. There's not much of a change on the technology and data requirement side. So data collected by the DLAs have to be need-based, clear audit trails, and explicit consent. बहुत ही clear है, DPD पे compliant बोल रहे हैं वो लोग. गड़बड़ मत करो, ऐसा करो, वैसा करो, बहुत clear है. And borrowers can accept or deny consent. So ये critical है, right? I don't know how many of I've not seen too much of this where customer actually can come back and say, boss, मैंने पहले तुमको दिया था consent अभी मैं revoke कर रहा हूँ. That's something which I have not seen very properly done, but that's also clearly called out कि I have given consent and then I want to revoke and then I want to delete all data collected by DLAs and LSPs. बहुत मुश्किल है. ये तो मैंने ज़्यादा होते देखा नहीं, but ये again है regulation में part में है and many of you will have to sort of take care of it. Let's come back to regulatory framework. I think clarity of purpose is there that again, all kind of loans which can be or short tenor, whatever it is, they have to be reported back to regulators and bureaus. And also similarly, when we try to create a, BNPL kind of product, which is a short-term credit or deferred payments, BNPL, have to be reported back to bureau as a loan. So this is an old change they had done. There's not no change to it, but again, from an implementation perspective, not one of the one which had a minimum expectation or minimum impact. I think 3 years back when this regulation came, it changed the market. So the India looks very different post this regulation, and this was one of the key reasons why it happened so. I think let's come back to consumer protection and conduct requirements. I think clarity is there here that all the kind of loan disbursals, servicing, all of that would be actually routed via cannot be routed via LSPs. And I'm from an era where every entity, every LSP was sitting with money in their pocket. In those days, I think heydays of fintech were 2016, 17, 18. The lenders would park money with LSPs and they would disperse, right? So 5 crore mil gaya, आप disperse कर लो. From that moment to a current scenario where everything has to be directly from between a lender and borrower, and LSPs cannot act somewhere to misuse it. The only exceptions where clearly which exist is that there are some criteria where it has to be done necessarily through some pass-through vehicle. Co-lending obviously is clear. Co-lending structure is clear that the lending is done by the let's say entity or which is directly connected to the customer, and the big lender which is there 80-20 ratio में जो co-lending arrangement होता है उसके केस में the big lender will not go directly to customer. It will be routed via say NBFC, and that's when the lending will happen. So NBFC bank working together. So NBFC will do all the servicing and all the collection and all, and banks will work with NBFC. So that's the criteria they've allowed for it. And the third criteria is that when you have end use case, for example, consumer durable loan cannot be done any other way, right? You can't have a scenario where आपने कंज्यूमर ड्यूरेबल का लोन दे दिया बट पैसा कस्टमर को दे दिया तो पैसा लेके वो चला जाएगा, ड्यूरेबल को भी ले जा सकता है. So that's not correct. So I think that's what it is. No changes to the criteria as such at this point of time. I think ये KFS के भी regulation update हुए थे. We've just ensured that this document has the right template, including all the details which are there as per the regulations. We've sort of compiled it all together into one cohesive document. So what are we saying? That APR should be there, recovery mechanisms should be there, grievance redressal के लिए क्या process होना चाहिए, cooling off period. So it's more of a KFS whatever written earlier has been repeated in more ways than and sort of if there is a recovery agent. So there was issues. I don't know if you remember, there were a lot of issues on the recovery side, and the regulator has come back and sort of made some changes to that as well, right? So उसकी डिटेल्स हैं, लेट्स से रिकवरी एजेंट कौन है, क्या अग्रीमेंट हुआ है, वो सब लिखना पड़ेगा. You can't miss it at all, right? So that's a clause which they have called out. API का कैलकुलेशन भी आ गया था, लॉजिक भी आ गया था, so that the clarity is there, saying बॉस अगर लगेगा तो कैसे लगेगा, फीस लग जाएगा, राइट? पहले आदमी प्रोसेसिंग फी ऐड नहीं करता, राइट? So 2% प्रोसेसिंग फी है, बट you don't add to APR. That is added to APR, so that's easier to done. Again, very clearly given, and of course, you have to ensure that anything else which you do, early repayment को charge है, all of that has to be clarified to avoid any kind of surprise to the customer. रिकवरी मैकेनिज्म, आई थिंक ये रेगुलेशन सेपरेटली आया था. क्लैरिटी इज देयर कि वो कौन सा रेगुलेशन तो हमने कॉल आउट किया है, कोई चेंज नहीं है इसमें. द ओनली थिंग विच हैज आल्सो कम बैक इज दैट थोड़ा 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 उन्होंने कंप्लायंस को और क्लैरिफाई किया. एंड ऑल्सो वन मोर पॉइंट इज दैट इन ऑल केसेस यू रिकवरी कैन हैपन डायरेक्टली they cannot be touched by anyone, but so therefore if you do digital methods of collection, that's all okay. But when it comes to transaction where you have to do cash, in those cases cash will obviously be handled by somebody, right? So they have to be they are not they cannot be done handled any other way. So in those cases, the our agent will actually take cash and then deposit. So deposit has to happen in the lender's account, but the physical cash handling cash will still happen because there's no other choice. That's not digital by nature, it's physical by nature. So in that case only it can be done. But yeah, REs can recover delinquent cash, loans in cash, which should be reflected in borrower's account very clearly. They are exempted from requirement of direct repayment of loan in RE's bank account. Logically so, they were allowed for it. बट इन केस एलएसपीज मस्ट स्टिल रिसीव फीस फ्रॉम आरई. सो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि उसमें से मैंने कैश लिया, उसमें से अपने रिकवरी कर ली और बाकी पास ऑन कर दिया. अगेन नॉट परमिटेड. I keep saying not permitted because lot of times people chase me कि समीर ये तो लगा दो, ये तो अलाउड है, अप्रूव करवा दो या जो भी है. नो वे, दिस इज हाउ इट इज. ग्रीवेंस के लिए उन्होंने पहले भी लिखा था, वो बहुत ही क्लैरिटी से उन्होंने लिखा हुआ है डिटेल में क्या करना है, कैसे करना है. नॉट स्पेंड टाइम ऑन इट. फ्रेमवर्क बहुत ही क्लियर है उसका. When it comes to a cooling or lock-in period, I think पहले 3 दिन और 1 दिन था, 7 दिन से ऊपर के लोन पे 3 days था, and less than 7 days पे 1 day था. That has been increased, reduced to 1 day each. So there is no confusion out there. Just 1 day is the period which exists today. And processing fee is not required to be refunded if a customer exists during cooling off period, provided the same is mentioned in KFS. And also there is you can even say that there will be a proportionate processing fee you can charge. So all of that can be done. This is again in favor of lenders as such, saying that ऐसा ना हो कि lender कोई borrower आपको लेके वापस करता रहे तो आप परेशान हो जाओगे, right? This is a old same old thing that from a borrower perspective, the lender has to RE has to ensure that all information is shared and with the borrower directly, right? So as much as possible, fintechs can only get information, but the sharing of data has to happen between NBFCs and borrowers and both ways, right? So ऐसे ही होना चाहिए. But fintechs can be actually informed, or LSPs can be informed about it. So पहले process इनके through होता था. So they were inside and they were almost like mediators of everything. That has been removed. They are more enablers, but they are not controlling anything. Maybe so we are at 3:38. What I will do is, folks, I'll spend few more minutes to take it to a level and then take tons of Q&A. I clearly see more and more questions. So please keep asking those questions. I'll see how much of them I can handle. I think this is clearly the framework is simple. When you have a lot of LSPs working, you should have on your website their name, details, and all of that, and products offered. So that's clear. The disclosure to borrowers are also has to be done on the DLA or LSP space, saying कौन सा product क्या क्या हो रहा है. So वो सब तो clarity से पहले भी दिया हुआ, तो कुछ बदला नहीं है. So I'm not spending more time on these pages right now, and you can see all of that already going live. REs must capture the economic profile of the borrowers in auditable manner. So वो तो पुराना ही process है, इसमें कोई नया नहीं है. Consent management is required. Consent is required before you increase limits. That ensure that I think earlier it used to happen that you do a clickbait and start with the 10,000 limits and you keep increasing automatically. That has been completely removed. Not possible anymore. I think enhanced due diligence करना पड़ेगा आरई को एलएसपी का. वो तो क्लैरिटी से पहले दिया हुआ था, पूरा प्रोसेस डाला हुआ है, बहुत क्लैरिटी है. तो आई कीप टेलिंग एनी स्मॉल एलएसपी or anybody who's trying to become LSP now, saying please don't try to become LSP generically, because starting में इतने regulatory compliances लगेंगे, आपको पूरा बनाना पड़ेगा, right? Because RBI is also right? So that you can't have a scenario where because the LSP was weak, the data got shared with somebody else. So that's not permitted. So you have to have enough money and on the table to start. You need to be sort of scaled before you do LSP business. This is a net new, slightly new. पहले भी था, but थोड़ा अलग हो गया. Basically, what they've done is from a compliance perspective, each of these LSPs have to disclose on their website the overall portfolios, amount of each of the lenders with whom they have DLG. All of the details have to be on the website. I think it's a logic which came some time back, but it has to be done every seventh of every month. There can't be any delay. So every LSP has to ensure that on their website they have a complete portfolio breakup without the name of the RE. RE का नाम नहीं होगा, but let's say borrower number one, what is the amount of loan which is there, total amount of portfolio, let's say 100 crores, and what is the DLG or amount of limits, the DLG which is given. Again, how many people use, I don't know, but I think it brings more transparency to the market. Otherwise, there are risks that you be using same increasing your risk on the books as well. There are requirements given saying how it'll impact your if you are an NBFC and you have given a DLG of, let's say, 10 crores, and your overall capital is 100 crores. You can't count twice, right? So 10 crores, which is DLG, has to be removed from your capital, and 90 crores is what is left as a capital for you to disburse or whatever. So they block the capital of whatever is the DLG you've given. FLDG. When I say FLDG, DLG, I was actually saying FLDG, right? So it's sometimes confusing to speak about it. This is so I think it implicitly existed, this regulation, but all the things which are marked in yellow are net new. So they have clearly called out that all the LSPs have to adhere to RBI defined cybersecurity methods. बहुत क्लैरिटी से दिया है, पहले थोड़ा ऊपर नहीं हो सकता था, बहुत क्लियरली लिखा है. This is applicable for all the service providers and digital lending platforms. They must align with guidelines issued by RBI. So बहुत सारे guidelines हैं, data encryption के, access logs के, breach के सारे करना पड़ेगा, because one weak guy can actually destroy the market. So I think regulators have gone after this market and clarified, say each case, everything has to be sort of. I think as many of us will talk about bank grade security, the what RBI has done is RBI has taken all NBFCs and all other entities of which is lending in the country or taking deposits at the same level of which is the bank grade. Now they're expecting all LSPs to be at the bank grade. So, and if you want to become a LSP, you have to invest in all the infrastructure which is highest quality, because if you break, everything else breaks. So I think they're making it more and more aligned and make more and more rigorous. I think we already called out that sharing with of data with third parties is not permitted. Again, very clearly what is allowed and what is not allowed. So you can't have access to file, media, contact lists and all, but you can have access to camera, microphone, and location. I think this is all largely required primarily for KYC purposes. But you can't use this data, because this was what was creating challenges where people get access to the friends and then messages to them and then make their life miserable. So that's not permitted again. I think clarity wise that the RE or regulatory entity has to ensure there is a clear guidelines available of what the kind of type of data they will be held for, what duration, what is the restriction on usage. So all of that is documented, and the servers have to be in India. I think this guidelines is something which existed earlier as well, and they continue to be in the same direction. And again, no biometric storage. You should do stuff like that. So I'll skip some slides and I'll bring it to, if there is a specific one I would want you to sort of focus on. No changes here. One clarity wise, what they want, and this is they're making the chief compliance officer or equivalent, which you may have, as is directly responsible for managing the entire process or entire control. So all DLAs owned by REs or LSPs must be reported on RBS SIMS platforms portal. So आपको timely dana hai. This is the first compliance you have to do right away. So baki to already applied has, so you have to deploy. But this one you have 15th to do. By that time you should create the entire reporting, and then of course it has to be certified by the chief compliance officer that the DLA is compliant and with the regulatory norms. They should also ensure that public website links to the RE information is available. Some RE has to ensure that all the information on the loan is put into one structure, so that when you click on the LSP, the page should come. There should be information on the grievance redressal system officer of the DLA or LSP, as you may call it intermingly. And then, of course, privacy and data collection norms are followed. So this brings the chief compliance officer suddenly in the limelight, because earlier wo kehta tha, now they have to certify on a regular basis, right? So this is one critical one which has to be done, and of course has to be done whenever a new DLA is onboarded or a current engagement. So if you're adding, every time you do it, every time the the chief compliance officer has to certify. And once you certify, you have to keep it tracking it all the time. So logic is simple. DLA's onboarding is done, then CCO has to sort of certify, and then CIV's update has to be done, and then RBI will publish again. So at this point of time is when your relationship is ideally going to go live. FLDG, I think we've learned earlier as well. I'll not spend too much of time on FLDG. If there is any query, I'll handle it. But 5%, so not much of a change. 5% is maximum. All the processes, all the controls are still the same. Just to ensure that we have bring more clarity to it, and earlier also they had said that there has to be a GLG set. So पहले क्या होता था कि you used to work on a pool, and let's say if you give 5% pool on that, so 100 crore का pool होता था, उसमें 5% का FLDG होता था. बट व्हाट यूज्ड टू हैपन इज दैट वाज ऑन रनिंग बेसिस. तो वो पूल अलग नहीं होता था, तो अगला मंथ का भी पूल उसी में ऐड हो जाता था. तो दिस यूज्ड टू बी वेरी कंफ्यूजिंग वर्ल्ड इन वेयर you could actually give more than 5% FLDG. So you can keep mixing the money, and the FLDG could never be tracked. So I think they're very clear that every you have to set the frequency and the structure, so that let's say you do a monthly FLDG money. So you do a 5 crores ka FLDG, and the portfolio has to be created by 200 crores. So then that month you reach either 100. अगर 100 से cross कर गए, तो you have to add further FLDG. So that's how it used to work or would work. So they're saying that both वैसे ही करना है, ऐसा ना हो कि you are not able to identify which pool and which amount. So every time the amount has to be adjusted. Lot of times this adjustment don't happen. What happens is that the cash payouts or the RTGS is done for equivalent amount, and the FD remains intact. So वो process properly control में डालने चाहिए. I'll not go through each one of them for a moment. I think these are all board approved policies or credit underwriting or due diligence. I think this is something which exists. I'm just being very conscious over time. So I'll use this now time to sort of take Q&A out there. And if you have, if you have some questions, you want to raise hands, I'll be happy to take as well. So yeah, there you go. Just one sec. Yeah, Parth, you had a question. Parth, you go ahead with the question.
So the question was regarding any guidelines or changes in setup for players like ULI or ONDC who are trying to aggregate these services on a single platform. So have there been any guidelines for data protection or customer, let's say, facing or customer management in this?
So I think my understanding is simple, that those frameworks are right now just under progress. They have to be brought properly under DLG or a digital lending guidelines. अभी उसके so it says these are all government oriented entities. I'm not in the position to respond, but they have to be brought under the same ambit. नहीं तो बहुत confusing हो जाएगा, because on one side you have those networks, and the second side the regulations are not properly there. But irrespective of what I mean, those entities, the frameworks will still be the same. So any NBFC or any RE going there, and any LSP going there, has to ensure that all these regulations are taken care of. I believe that at some point in time, those entities which are basically acting like the way you have NPCI as an umbrella association, umbrella organization for retail payments, you'll end up creating that new regulation. But uh, Parth, you know my view, it is still not done. So it has to be brought in properly so that it can scale.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Uh, so then we go to Apur. Go ahead with the question. Yeah, Apur.
Am I audible?
Maybe
Yeah. Sami, just wanted to have a clarity on the pre-screening scenario of unbiased process. Is this been discarded? Can you throw some light on this? Because this is something which is very in process in all the LSPs and DLAs, what they do to help the REs identify the customers. Can you throw some light
नहीं
on?
नहीं, मुझे क्वेश्चन समझ में नहीं आया. Apur, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, Sameer, I was asking, is there any pre-screening scenarios that has been discarded through this draft
No, I
when
don't
we
think so.
talk about
I don't.
unbiased access?
No, I don't think so. I think I don't think so at all. मेरे को तो नहीं लगता. मेरे को नहीं लगता ऐसा है, क्योंकि आपको प्री स्क्रीनिंग तो करना ही पड़ेगा। मेरे ख्याल में ये जो पूरा सिनेरियो होगा वो प्री स्क्रीनिंग पे ही होगा, बिकॉज इफ यू स्टार्ट processing all the data with the REs, technically, let's say in India, the amount of transactions which run by RE, the LSPs on these rails is immensely high. So imagine if you run through a real-time rails, it'll become maybe 3 or 4 times more complicated and maybe more intensive for all the bureaus, all of them. So मेरे ख्याल में ये pre-screening रहेगा, and those criteria has to be built in that pre-screening, and the first level of offers will not be pakka, and you'll have to go through some iteration. If you want to make it pakka, then what you are saying is that every RE is giving the entire data, entire underwriting framework to the LSPs, and also the data sharing frameworks will come in. So मुझे doubt है ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. So it will be done from limited information, and then the next detailing will actually happen once the more information has to be done. At that point in time, you have to inform the customer in more why the rates are changing. So all be complicated हो गया.
Okay, Sameer, got the point. Thank
Yeah.
you.
थोड़ा complicated implementation में होगा challenge, आसान नहीं.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
बच्चे
Yeah.
जो हम लोग प्री स्क्रीनिंग का सिनेरियोस था ना,
Yeah. So we then move to Tane. Tane, please go ahead and ask a question.
Sure. Am I audible?
Tane, it will be good. I mean, I think I should have asked everyone. So if you can just give me a quick view on who you are, and then I'll try to answer. That will give me more context.
Sure, sure. So, hi, my name is Tanay. I'm a product manager. I'm working with Reliance right now. So I've been in fintech for the past 3 years. Yeah, that's my summary. So, it's a very specific scenario that I want to ask. So, my company is actually trying to bring lenders to a marketplace, right? So what we are doing is we'll be taking care of all the LSP work. But can I basically recruit one of my other group companies as the LSP on paper? Basically, that company doing agreements on my behalf, my company not doing any LSP, basically doing the LSP work at the background, but on paper, there's a different company who's LSP. So is this scenario a valid scenario?
No, I think मेरे को आपसे बात करना पड़ेगा. मुझे लगता तो नहीं है. उसका structure आएगा, where then the data sharing issues will also come, right? So I don't have a direct answer is no. Let me put it like that. But as we can discuss if this scenario is possible, in what contours, so what is possible, not possible. So direct answer नहीं दे सकता. हमने ऐसा काम किया हुआ है. बट उस सिनेरियो में क्या किया था हमने हमने कि डेटा शेयरिंग पूरी बंद कर दी थी. प्लेटफॉर्म सेम ही था, but data sharing was one way, so still possible. It still happens with a lot of platforms, but what they do, let's say any platform will have to create a separate entity on which the lending will happen, but
Hmm.
पे वो common रहेगा. तो मैं अभी नहीं जवाब नहीं देता, but we can have a chat always, right?
Sure. I'll ping you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, sure. Let's then move to Jaspreet Singh, and Jaspreet, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Yeah, so hi Sumit. So being a fintech, can we charge any kind of
So थोड़ा
fees
मुझे
like
quick background बताओ. Where do you work and what's your role?
yeah, I work with M1 Exchange.
Okay.
So working as a LSP, so can we charge one-time onboarding fees or platform service charges, recurring charges?
So as long as you are in another business which is not linked to lending, and I'm just trying to tell you my interpretation, okay?
Yeah.
And you may be offering them, let's say, free or other a low price bureau score and all that, you can charge. But if it is directly linked to a transactions, no. So if you can do it, right? Because as long as you're offering some new service, like for example, all the platforms, let's say the platform which offer you property pricing and all of that, they charge, right? So as long as you're not directly charging for it, it's okay. बट अदरवाइज इफ यू सेइंग मैं लैंडिंग प्लेटफॉर्म में सर्विसिंग के लिए कोई ऑफर लेने के लिए आपको चाहिए होगा, आप डायरेक्टली
No,
कॉल.
but if I'm a marketplace, I'm connecting with multiple financiers and providing like trying to get lowest rate of interest. So can I charge service charges?
नहीं, I think कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा उसके लिए, राइट? आप
हाँ ठीक है.
जसप्रीत, आपका आंसर नो है.
हाँ.
वो कुछ तो एडवांस, फॉर एग्जांपल you can say I will give you free or other low price bureau score, or I'll give you some financial information. I'm a website which has content on this, something like that. So you have to have an offering to make, just because otherwise आपको वो थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूजिंग हो जाएगा. तो आप कुछ वैल्यू ऐड करो तो हो जाएगा, मेरे ख्याल में इशू नहीं आना है।
And what about one-time onboarding charges?
वो तो देखो आंसर मेरा वही रिपीट ही है। इफ यू आर इफ बिकॉज वो आप ऑन ऐसे कोई आपके प्लेटफॉर्म में आएगा नहीं जनरिकली, राइट? अगर आप ऑनबोर्डिंग के टाइम पे ही आएगा, प्रोसेसिंग के टाइम पे। लोन प्लेटफॉर्म पे कोई नहीं आता जब तक लोन नहीं चाहिए होता। अगर उस टाइम पे आप चार्ज करोगे तो लॉजिकली इट लुक लाइक अ प्रोसेसिंग फी, राइट?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And one of the reason why RBI is making more and more explicit is that every time there is one exception coming and one more, so they are trying to say कि ये implicitly गलत है, सही है. So I think it will be more on the spirit.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Ishita, please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you so much, firstly, for the webinar. Now, coming to my question, I work with M1 Exchange, and my question is so basically, keeping these latest guidelines in mind, I was trying to understand what exactly would be the working model between the REs, borrowers, LSP, and banks. Is there any particular parameter that maybe the process flows or the working model that should be inculcated? Thank
नहीं,
you.
फिर से क्वेश्चन समझा नहीं मेरे को. There are only two entities, LSP and RE. और
Yes.
कौन सी entity है इसमें?
So there are financiers also, there are banks also, banks and financiers, of course. So what would be the working model, keeping these latest guidelines in mind? What would be the working model between all these entities?
नहीं देखो, आपका केस बहुत ही स्पेसिफिक है अगर आप एमएल एक्सचेंज पकड़ते हो, राइट? बिकॉज
जी.
स्टेट्स पूरा अलग तरह से ऑपरेट करता है. उसके मॉडल में आप वैसे भी स्ट्रक्चरली आप एफएलडीजी नहीं ले सकते, बिकॉज एनहांस नहीं कर सकते. तो अगर आप उसको उसके फ्रेमवर्क के बाहर जाके अगर बना रहे हो, ओके, तो
जी.
पहले तो आई गिव यू माय टू थ्री पॉइंट्स, राइट? वन, एनी ट्रेड्स प्लेटफॉर्म कैन नॉट क्रिएट अनदर एंटिटी which can do lending to the customers which are on Threads platform. These are two, it has to be done by a separate entity, and data cannot be shared. The moment you create a structure, there's only the LSP becomes LSP, and the RE becomes the financer. There's no third way.
Okay. Okay. Understood. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah, and please do share your feedback. So I think the feedback form has been shared to all those who are actually asking these the questions or filling the form. We'll share the feedback, the deck as well to you. But let's continue with the question. If you have more, and otherwise I will go through these question set, which are massive number. I'm just looking at the massive number there. So you keep raising hands, and all those who have asked question can also come here and ask those questions. So with this, I move to Pradeep. Pradeep, go ahead with the question.
Yeah, can you hear me, Sameer?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so no, just so I work with Tata Capital Housing Finance Limited. I had just one point to see clarity on. I mean, we are an HFC and we don't have access to SIMS portal, and one of the requirements which the guidelines state is the chief compliance officer or any other official designated by the board needs to submit do some certification in terms of DLA submitted by them. The data is in conformity with the guidelines. So since we do not have access to SIMS portal, do we specifically need to approach RBI, seek access credentials, or how do
Yes.
we go about it?
I think I may be slightly here and there, but answer is yes. करना चाहिए because उन्होंने guidelines में सबको add कर दिया, right? So if I look at the framework, just let me put it right. Yeah, so दिया हुआ है ना, तो करना ही लेना ही पड़ेगा आपको, including HFC.
So that's what I mean. But we don't have access to SIMS portal. There is no reporting that we as HFC does to SIMS portal on any front for that matter.
Then your reporting starts now.
Reporting starts now. Okay,
क्या
so we'll
होना
have
है?
to, in fact, speak to
100%.
RBI, get the credentials created, and start reporting it. That's what you're saying. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
sure. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
No doubt about it, right? Because structure वैसा ही बनाया हुआ है.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So I think I'll try to take few more questions now. Let me see if I can find. Yeah. Varun Kapoor, please go ahead with Varun.
Yeah, hi Sameer. Hi. First of all, thank you. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, actually, I am part of a company called Newgen Software. So we implement the LOS for multiple banks in India and globally. Just wanted to know because we're getting a use case for a lot of customers where, we're getting a choice where In the digital lending application, customer themselves fill the information and the loan gets proceeded and approval is done digitally. Now, how about we handle the co-borrower situation? Because there could be possibility and me and my wife both are coming for a loan. How to handle such situations? Can I take a consent from my wife and fill her information? Any violation with respect to PI? Or what do you suggest or what is your take? Because we are also getting a lot of requests from customers on the same front, but not sure what the guidelines is through.
At least those guidelines are not here.
Okay.
The guidelines are not there. I think your point is very valid. And I've seen places where, at least as of this point of time, they do the cover is onboarded through Aadhaar and all in the same flow.
Correct.
And then maybe later on the video KYC and all of them are done.
True.
So I've
Yeah.
seen it happening. The segregation is not very hard right now. इसमें लिखा नहीं, good point. Maybe in the next version they should do it right. So let me put it like
Yeah.
that. Good point.
Okay.
अभी कुछ नहीं है.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Rajkumar, please go ahead with your question. Rajkumar, you wanted to ask a question? Yeah.
No,
Go ahead. Yeah, Rajkumar, go ahead with the question.
No, I got my questions answered earlier.
Okay, thank you. Then we have Mansa. And if you have any more question, you can ask. Again, we are doing based on whatever we have learned in the market over last so many years, setting up both lending platforms on the bank side or NBFC side, or setting the whole, launching the entire LSPs, or working with the TSPs and building those stacks. So that's as basic as it is. It is a more market information than anything else, right? Yeah, Mansa, please go ahead.
Yeah, Sameer. So hi, we are trying to set up an LSP, very starting stages at the moment, and I'm one of the co-founders of the firm. So yeah, I will actually connect with you offline. I think we have to know a lot of stuff from you than what I can get from this, from these few minutes, right? But I just wanted to ask you this. You passingly had said that don't become a generic LSP. It needs, because you will end up doing a lot of paperwork and it's not worth it. You implied, I don't remember your exact words, you kind of implied that. What exactly did you mean by that, Sameer?
So, simple thought process. Look, and this is more of my understanding of the market, right? Look, when you are marketplace where for loans, what is the moat? If you're doing marketing, digital marketing, and you're going to get customers on board, it's going to be expensive. You know that when you do a PL origination, you can actually at best get 3 to 4%, right? FLDG then is or भी बढ़ा भी सकते हो, but the risk of 5% is there. So your maximum return on the customer, let's say if the loan is of lakh, you can at best make say 3 to 4,000 rupees. But आपका जो cost of acquiring the customer is going to be high at initial stages, right? So if your moat is saying, boss, मैं खड़ा कर दूंगा, बहुत सारा capital burn कर दूंगा, तो होगा नहीं. Lot of time initial stages में आपको you will get success at then you can have a disbursement of 5 to 10 crores, 15 crores, and you will feel happy that, oh, it's going to scale up. I'm going to make this much money. That's also be more of a like a mirage, right? So it won't flow through. Anybody who has to make money has to scale up like crazy. So technically, I'm looking at can you beat? Can you beat the largest player? So if you look at this market, purely aggregators which have no other moat have not been able to scale up at all. मैं नाम नहीं लूंगा किसी का, लेकिन मैंने कंपनी बंद होती देखी है, और एक में नहीं सैकड़ों बंद होती देखी है, राइट? सो उसमें आपका मोट नहीं है. आपको खर्च करने के लिए सिर्फ एड कैंपेन करना पड़ेगा. जब उसके बाद आप जर्नी को कन्वर्ट करोगे, 3% कन्वर्ट होगा, 4% कन्वर्ट होगा, आपके फनल में बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग आएंगे जो वैल्यूएबल नहीं होंगे, और आपका ब्यूरो करा दोगे और खर्चा हो जाएगा आपका. सो आई थिंक बहुत वेस्टेज है उस बिजनेस पे. सो आई वुड रादर से दैट आप मत करो. ये उनको करना चाहिए जिनके पास कस्टमर ऑलरेडी है. और ऐसे बहुत सारे लोगों के साथ काम किया जिसके पास कस्टमर है, कुछ और करता है, एंड उनको आप लोन बेच सकते हो, वो स्केल करेगा विद टाइम.
Okay. So I will actually talk to you offline on this. I have multiple questions that are brewing in my head at the moment. Thank you, though.
So, would do. Maybe time for last for 2-3 questions. I have to rush to BKC for a flying meeting. I'll take 1 or 2 more questions. Shalini, please go ahead with the question, please. Shalini, you can ask a question.
Am I audible?
Yes, Shalini, you're audible.
So, Sameer, I had one query. In the initial slides, you had shown account aggregators qualifying as LSP. So, can you give an example of that?
तो क्या होता है कस्टमर जो 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 प्लेटफॉर्म है, प्लेटफॉर्म पे आप कस्टमर का ब्यूरो स्कोर ले सकते हो, कस्टमर का अकाउंट एग्रीगेट डेटा दे सकते हो, और उसकी बेसिस पे इनकम एनालिसिस कर सकते हो। बैंक अकाउंट स्टेटमेंट का एनालिसिस वैसे ही होता है। तो वो स्ट्रक्चर तो बहुत पुराना ही है, राइट? सो यू कैन डू इट एंड देन यू कैन से बेस्ड ऑन दिस इंफॉर्मेशन and based on customer consent, this data can even be shared with the lender. So you can actually do underwriting based on that. So अगर आप देखो पीएल पूरा सिर्फ उस पे जाता है, या तो ब्यूरो पे जाता है, ब्यूरो प्लस इनकम स्टेटमेंट, तो वो दोनों हो सकता है, एंड यू कैन यूज ए फॉर दैट। इट्स रेगुलरली यूज्ड इन द मार्केट।
So, you are saying all account aggregators have to be qualified as LSP?
नहीं 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 नहीं, नॉट अकाउंट एग्रीगेट। अकाउंट एग्रीगेट से आप डेटा ले लोगे, एनी
Okay.
that data you will take, but then when you do take this data, it is possible only in those cases where you are also a regulated entity. So only regulated entities can, which are under regulatory framework of, let's say, RBI, SEBI, and PFRDA and IRDA, यानी कि चारों उसके अंडर आती है, वही ले सकती है। तो any LSP who is under that guidelines can actually pull account aggregator data. So account aggregator themselves cannot be LSP. They are not permitted. They are not supposed to have data as well.
Okay. Okay. And Sameer, same goes for TSPs also, right? TSP will not qualify as an LSP.
No, TSP नहीं, वो qualify और non qualify का issue ही नहीं है. They are not touching data. They are not selling anything. Their tools are available and used by either the LSPs or by lenders. So they have no role to play.
As per
Either
the
one.
definition of LSP. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sameer.
And yeah, maybe last 1 or 2 questions. So Apurva, you had a question, or you already asked the question, right?
Sameer, I have one follow-up question regarding the lender list, which we were discussing in the earlier slides. So, if a customer is already being taking is already an existing borrower for a lender, so by the list of lender, can I classify or can I put my specific lender on the top and then do this as a generic mechanism, or this is again a standard mechanism which I need to implement and show it in a regular use case?
Repeat your point.
So, Sameer, like for example, if there is a customer already availing a loan from a specific lender and he wants to avail a second tranche or maybe another piece of loan, can in this possibility with the current guidelines we have, the list of lender, can I put that lender first and then put the scenario second by bypassing the scenarios, whatever you have mentioned in this
Not
discussion?
bypassing. You can write that. I mean, I'm not again a legal expert. Don't take it from that perspective. But if you create a transparent criteria that as part of the selection process, your current lender will be on top in generic everyone, then it is okay, no?
And also, if the case is similar, like if I have an account of a specific bank, that comes first, and then other banks comes as per the approval or credit.
आपको पहले लॉजिक लिखना पड़ेगा.
Okay, that would be on a
publicly
publicly
available document. Publicly
right,
available.
right. Okay.
So you have to create a criteria. They have not told what criteria. That's a
Sure.
Yeah, so I'll do this. I pause now. I think I'm so happy to see all of you joining us. I know that I have not been able to ask or rather respond to all questions. I'll try to come back with maybe one more flurry of maybe webinar on that. In the meantime, I request my team to just take note of all the questions which the team has asked. We'll try to respond back as part of the newsletters. Many of you may be part of our newsletters. If you're not, we would love to have you on board, and we will share more information from here. With this, we pause. I need to rush. Thank you, guys. And today we had sort of a massive crowd. I'm so surprised and so happy to see almost 250, 300 people joining us in today's session. And we'll be happy to come back with more information. Thank you, guys. And with this, thank you and see you. Bye.